So, welcome back to the Lift Your Life podcast. And at long last, I have delivered. I have got a goddamn guest on the podcast and kind of killing two birds with one stone here because I have got Danni on the podcast. Now, Danni is someone who I feel like I have known my entire life. I would actually classify her as one of my best friends right now.
Aw.
I know.
Same. Same.
That's what I was hoping for. This is when she's like,
Running away.
you're not one of mine. But we literally met 2 weeks ago when we went on a
Yeah.
to Dubai.
Mhm.
We got talking, decided to meet up on day one just so we had a familiar face, and we just clicked from the get-go. And we have so many similar mindsets and philosophies with how we coach our clients. We have our own independent businesses, but loads of similar ideas. And one, I wanted to see Danni's face again because I miss her already.
Aw.
But,
Aw.
but she is a bloody banging coach. She really gives a shit about her clients. And her philosophy and ethos and messaging is predominantly based around helping women to get away from these fad, restrictive, stupid diet programs and just have food freedom and flexibility and look and feel amazing without having to do all that shit. And as you guys know, I'm passionate about that as well. But I wanted to hear Danni's story. I wanted to hear some of Danni's perspectives and ideas and share them with you guys. So, Danni, for the audience, for the people listening, just a little quick brief introduction, who you are, what you do, and throwing you in at the deep end here. Just a couple of fun facts about yourself that people might not know, some interesting things or quirky things.
Okay. Cool. Oh God, you put me on the spot now. So hi everyone, I am Danni. I have been in the fitness industry for the past 8 years, which is wild. Can't believe it's been that long. But yeah, about 8 years. So like as you said, I work with women who are kind of stuck in that vicious cycle of yo-yo dieting, are really frustrated, can't make progress with their body goals, maybe don't have the best relationship with food. We help them kind of break free of that and build up self-confidence. We're very big on chucking people out their comfort zone eventually when they're able to. But obviously we'll talk about that later on. So yeah, what was the other question? A fun fact.
Couple of fun facts about yourself. What makes you different? What's like a weird fact about yourself or something cool that you've done? Something people who do know you might not know about you.
I'm not that cool a person.
Oh, you are. Shut up. You
I
are.
don't know what what I think. Fun fact. Okay, so this kind of relates to you. I come from a background of dancing and musical theatre. So I actually trained 3 years in dance at college, and then I did a year of musical theatre. We were actually talking about musicals this morning. We're going to be on Broadway. Um, so yeah, I guess, I mean, a lot of people do know that, to be fair. Another fun fact is that I'm Italian and I can't speak a word of it. So, I mean, that's pretty crap.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So there we go. We've learned something new.
There you
Fantastic.
go.
Amazing. So you've been doing this now for 8 years, which is like a hell of a long time, a lot longer than I have. So you're old. No, I'm joking.
I am old.
Yeah, you've got a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience, but it'd be interesting to know what got you into it. So obviously you've mentioned that you did all the musical theatre and dance, and yes, you could argue that it is still movement, but they are still very, very different disciplines and realms and worlds.
Yeah.
So what made you transition from this passion of maybe going into fitness, theatre and musicals and performing arts to fitness?
Yeah. So I when I was in college, I was so insecure in my body, was really unhappy, was constantly trying to find ways how I could change my body, and I just couldn't do it. And I thought back then, I'm really active, like why am I not seeing change in my body? And we had to wear the most questionable unitards at college, which I absolutely hated. I actually think I've still got them in my cupboard, but they were not flattering unless you were like literally straight up and down. And that's just not me. And I used to hate it. I used to feel so self-conscious. So throughout that whole time, as much as I loved dancing, when it came to like the whole auditioning side of things, I found that really quite daunting, and I discovered that it wasn't for me. So then I went to teach dance for a little while, which I really enjoyed, but I knew there was just something missing.
Yeah.
And then for a period of time, I was started going to the gym, started to not properly train, just started to kind of dab into kind of weight training, and then I got to a point where I was like, I need a full time job, because I was kind of working in between jobs and things then. And I got this office job, which I absolutely.
So this is going to sound really disjointed on the whole podcast. So we were just having a really nice flow then, and I just got hounded by someone ringing my flat, someone ringing my phone about 500 times. So I had to go, Danni, sorry, hon. I know you're in a really good flow there. I had to stop you. And I was like, is this an emergency? Is like, someone dying outside? No, it's just my parcels. But I just wanted to show it on the podcast because I have now got, you ready for this? People who like coffee will be excited. Anyone who doesn't is going to be like,
There's loads there.
It's only 5 sleeves. You can only order a minimum of 7 anyway in espresso.
Oh, can you?
Minimum of 50 sleeves or something. But I've got the new gingerbread one for Christmas.
Oh my God, stop. That's what I get in my Costa every day.
So I'm very, 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 very excited. I'll go back in the box now. That was definitely worth fucking up the whole podcast for, wasn't it? Thanks, Yodel.
Cheers, Yodel. No, that sounds good, to be fair. I wish I had an espresso machine. I need that in my life.
I think you should invest. Everyone who thinks Danni should invest, slide in a DMs after the podcast. Buy a fucking espresso machine.
Yeah, drop me a message with the word Nespresso and I'll buy it.
Love it. I mean, people are just trying to mess up our flow today. Danni was late to the podcast. She got hounded by someone at her door, HelloFresh at her door. I've just got effed over by Yodel. But you know what? Anyone else who tries to mess up this podcast now, it's not happening. I don't care if you're dying. We're getting to the podcast. So, Danni, I don't know if your memory is as good as mine. Do you remember where we were?
Let's see. So I was basically saying I started in this job that I hated, in an office job, which was just not for me. I was super unhappy, but also at that time, I was honestly a complete opposite to what I am now.
Yeah.
I actually did a post on this recently because if you had met me back then, you wouldn't know who I was. And I think I was saying this to you in Dubai. Like I used to really, really suffer from, like, I mean, I still suffer from anxiety, but it used to be really, really bad. I felt really, really insecure. I had depression at the time. I was in a relationship that I was super unhappy with. And I just felt really, really stuck. And then I obviously was in this job that I hated. So I was just not in a good place mentally. Um, and like I was still going to the gym, but again, not really knowing what I was doing, just like knew I enjoyed it, but I was like, I want to learn more about this. I was like, I really enjoy this, but like I need to understand what I'm doing. So then decided that actually I wanna study this. Like I wanna learn more about this so I can help myself first and foremost. And then it never really crossed my mind at that point yet to then help others. That kind of came later on. So then I did my course, I started studying, and while I was studying, I got the job in a gym. And that is when kind of everything kind of changed for me. Like that job itself, it just kind of brought out me as a person. Like it's gonna sound really deep, but like at that time when I felt lost, I honestly didn't really know who I was. I felt like I was like, I have no purpose. Like I went to counseling because I was in such a like just such a low state. Like I had suicidal thoughts. I was like, I don't know what my purpose is in life, don't know what I want to do. Like, what's the point in being here? Just felt really unhappy. But when I started in the gym, I was like, this is what's been missing. As cheesy as that sounds, like, and don't get me wrong, I did miss dancing, but I was like, that's not like I can still go to dance classes, I can still do that. But that whole industry, I didn't realize till after training for it 3-4 years was not for me. Um, and I do think the whole being unhappy within my body at that time, being unhappy, definitely contributed to that. Like I didn't have the confidence. But you wouldn't really know that kind of speaking to me. It was very much hidden. Um, so then yeah, I started working the gym and I almost felt like a weight being lifted off my shoulders. I just started to be more myself and start to find out who I was, really enjoyed learning and, like getting help with my own training. I was learning so much from all the staff there. I remember I was the only one there who was still studying. Everyone there, I think they took on a team of 4 of us at the time. Everyone had worked in a gym before. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, why have you taken me on? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Major imposter syndrome. But they loved just how passionate I was about learning about it. And that's why they took me on essentially. And kind of just from there, I just kept learning, just loved being in that environment. That whole job just did wonders for my self-confidence and for like, having that purpose. And then once I got qualified, and then obviously part of my course was doing the level 3, which is your PT qualification, of course. And then at that time, I was like, I don't want to do PT for a long, long time. I was like, I don't want to personal train. I don't want to do that. Like, it's not for me. And it was only after like a good, I think I was on the gym floor for 3 years before I was like, nah, I want to try this whole PT thing. Like, I've got the qualifications, let me try it out and see how I get on. Because I really enjoyed helping people in the gym. I loved like having those conversations with people and kind of educating people and helping them. But I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like how I'm gonna feel about actually doing the PT side of things. And then I started it, and of course I loved it. And then I started doing full-time PT, and had done that for I can't even remember how many years, but a good few years. And loved it. But then I got to the point where you know what it's like, majorly long hours, was doing like 12, 13-hour days. I was like, I cannot do this anymore. I am so burnt out. To the point where like I'd come home from work and just not want to speak to Darren because I was like, I'm so tired. Like, you know what it's like? You give your clients 110% all day. And then I'd come home and be like, I can't do this. Like I used to have naps in the disabled toilet because I was like, I'm so tired. So yeah, eventually like I started kind of learning about online coaching, and that took me a while to get into. And yeah, just started kind of realizing that actually that's the route I want to go down. And here we are. The rest is history, and now I just feel like I've found my thing. As cheesy as that sounds, but yeah, it's true.
It is really cheesy, but it's also really lovely because there's so much of your story that's so relevant, and like I can relate to so much of that. Which is why
Mhm.
we're best friends now, isn't it?
Yeah, I love that.
But it's just amazing to hear that. And like I know you say it sounds cheesy, but I literally can relate to those feelings of like when you went to the gym environment feeling like this is what's been missing. This is like the missing piece of the puzzle that's just I've needed in my life, but I've never found, I've never known what it is. And like
Totally.
in your calling, I'm 100% with you on that one. Amazing. So
Mhm.
it's quite interesting because obviously you got into this because you were unhappy in your body and you wanted to change it. But it doesn't sound like you've ever done any of these sort of extreme sort of diets and slimming clubs or anything. Did you try any of those in the past? Because you said you were trying things and they weren't working. Uh,
Yeah.
what kind of things did you do in your own journey?
So, yeah, so kind of the reason I started wanting to eventually help people was because I was so insecure in myself at that time. I was then like obviously I started enjoying PT, and I realized that I
Yeah.
found my call and wanted to help people. But yeah, during that time I didn't do like Slimming World or anything like that, but I did try like I did low carb, which like a good couple of times, which was hellish. Lost my periods. I took like diet pills. Pretty sure I tried another sort of like shitty diet tea stupid thing. So yeah, I've kind of tried a few different things. I haven't tried anything else in terms of like intermittent fasting or any drastic diet apart from low carb. But I did low carb a couple of times and was like, this is great. And then realized how shit I felt. And it was like, this isn't for me. But yeah, in terms of like slimming clubs and that, I haven't personally done them. But a lot of our clients come to us having been in a position where they've come out of Slimming World or Weight Watchers, and they've just had a really toxic relationship with food. They've really struggled. A lot of them, as you know yourselves, like they do these clubs, they'll lose a chunk of weight and then they'll pile it back on. And I'm not saying that they don't work. It's like for some people that is great. That's fine. If that works for you, go for it. It's like with low carb, if you want to do that and it works for you, great. But for the majority of people, it's not it's not necessary. And I think the problem with like Slimming World and Weight Watchers is they don't educate you. They I was having a conversation with somebody about this the other day, but like they literally just promote the fear of the world in you. They promote this like fear around food, like you can't have this, you can have this, but you can't have this. Oh, go and eat loads and loads of this, but none of this. And they label it like sins. Like it's terrifying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's what promotes it.
Exactly. And you just said there, and I'm going to say this to people who listen to my podcast now, I don't give a shit about getting anyone from Slimming World, is that you said they do work for some people, but they
Mhm.
don't. They don't work in the respect of what the people who go to those actually deep down want. And none of them
Yeah.
want, a bit of fat loss. These people want to lose weight and keep it off. They want to finally feel goddamn confident in themselves, feel better because they're just not feeling good in themselves from an energy perspective and a lethargy perspective. None of these people are signing up to follow just to follow a program and
Mhm.
then pile it all back on, or
Yeah.
not understand actually how to change their body or actually how to feel their body. That's not what they're thinking they're signing up for. But that's
Mhm.
what they want. That's what everyone wants. Everyone wants that longevity of feeling good in themselves. And
Yep.
this is what it doesn't allow because, like you said, what does it do? It's a short-term fix. You follow the rules because it is just a rule based,
That's
it's
it.
one
Yeah.
system. And
Mhm.
what happens afterwards, you don't know. And so many people, and you will have the exact same experience, come to us with these fears and anxieties around certain social situations and certain foods. And some of these foods are good foods. Avocado
Mhm.
is one of them. I have some people come to me with an avocado like phobia because of something wild. Fuck you,
Yeah.
avocado, right? And their relationship with food is absolutely fucked as a byproduct. In
Mhm.
fact, one of my ladies today, we've actually challenged her to include a healthy fat source every single day because
Yep.
she's terrified of them from Slimming World. And it's
Yeah.
like, fat for a female is fucking essential. And she's like, I've always been told low fat, I need to do low fat. Yes, you need to lower your fat to lose weight, but you can't just
Mhm.
dietary fat. You can't.
Yeah. Oh,
And
totally. And that's the thing. This is the thing. Like I was saying this to one of my clients the other day. It's totally a rule-based system. It's not an educational.
yeah,
It's just like fear and rules. And we like as you'll be the same. You're trying to work with your client to remove these rules and that fear around food and develop that healthier relationship because they've seen all they've been told is like this is the rules you must follow in order to get great results, and they see it as this big restrictive thing. And of course they would, if I was to do something like that and I didn't have a clue, I would be terrified. And it just promotes unhealthy behaviors, like an unhealthy mindset towards food. And yeah, it's just kind of working on reversing that relationship and making it more positive and removing those rules essentially.
yeah. And another thing that you'll 100% agree with me on here is what is deemed a success within these things. And it's very much a scale weight is your only
Totally.
watch success here. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
No, no, no. Even if your goal and primary goal is fat loss alone, you're not bothered about anything else. Let's just,
Mhm.
which most people aren't. Most people are bothered about how they feel and their health markers and things. Let's
Yeah.
just say all you care about is fat loss. There's so much more to it than that number. So it's like, what habits and behaviors have improved? Have you challenged yourself in certain situations? There is
Mhm.
so more to it. Have you been more
Yeah.
physically active? And it's just so frustrating. And there's horror stories you hear of people who go to the evening groups and they're doing the weigh-ins. They don't eat all day and like
It's horrible. It's
totally
so like, what's the word? Demoralizing. Like the way they do not make you weigh in front of everyone as well. Like it's just the fact that they base it all around weighing yourself every week, and if you've not dropped, then you're a failure. Like actually, like it's not about that. And that again, that promotes that fear of stepping on the scales for people. And it's there's just so many things that it's missing out, and it's just I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of them at all.
I can tell. And that was going to lead on to my next question as to why is it then that you've decided to make this something that this is your like your main thing within your coaching, your main ethos about helping people to overcome these things? What is it about them and what is it about the experiences that you've had and the experiences that you've seen other people go through that makes you so goddamn passionate about helping people break free from it?
So, a good question. I think like it's not like swimming world. It's not like the swimming world and the swimming clubs in general. I think it's just yo-yo dieting in general because I experienced it a lot myself, and like I think that's why it was kind of like kind of why I want to started helping people, because I saw myself how frustrated I was and how unhappy I was in my body and from going back and forth to different diets.
Yeah.
And it's because I had no idea. I didn't have that education at the time before I was qualified. I didn't have that education. I didn't know what I was doing. So, of course, I was looking, like everyone else does, looking for the quick fixes, looking for how to lose weight quickly. Can I take these diet pills? Great. Like, I was literally just wanting anything and everything in order to change my body. I didn't know that, okay, I had to train properly, consistently. I had to eat this amount of food. This is the kind of thing I had to do. Like, so I think it just comes from a place of my own experience wanting to like basically simplify things for other people so that they don't make the same mistakes I did.
Yeah.
And they don't go down into that deep hole of having that toxicity, oh my god, I can't say that word, towards foods.
Yeah.
And like I think a lot of us do what we do because of our own personal experiences, right? And I think like you'll be the same. Like you want your clients to get results quicker than you did without making the same mistakes as you did. And like, you'll know yourself, like, we do what we do because we genuinely love helping people, right? And it just annoys the hell out of me, these Slimming World clubs and all these stupid fad diets and skinny teas. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, all these stupid, like, I honestly, I hate them. Like, who they just market it. It's just like a money making scheme. And like, I actually spoke with somebody a little while ago who'd said they poured, oh, I can't remember how much money it was. It was like hundreds into these, like, what are they called? They're like like the, the keto drink things, whatever they're called.
Yeah, I
Don't know
don't
what
know.
they're called, but they're basically these drinks that promote they're supposed to promote fat loss. And he was like, oh great, it was actually a guy. He's like, I'm gonna invest in all of that. And I was like, what? Has he wasted all this money? And I was like, it's just a money making scheme, and it's sick that they do that, And I don't want people to waste any more money on these shitty products, you know?
No, and I'm fully in agreement. It is really, really sad. And I used to work in Holland and Barrett, and obviously in Holland and Barrett they do have the dieting section. And
Mm-hmm.
the amount of times you would see these repeat customers coming in and spending, there was a man that used to come in every week and he would buy the fat metabolizer pills.
Mm-hmm. Fun.
Yeah, they definitely work. There's probably some research, one study somewhere done on rats where they do mobilize fat cells. Yes, if you've done everything else, they may make that marginal difference, but they're not going to help
Yeah.
you weight. But they don't tell you that, of course they don't.
Yeah.
He must have spent, he must have come in spent about 20 quid a week, right? And I know
Yeah.
it doesn't sound a lot, but 20 quid every single week, 2, 4, 6, nearly £100 a month, just down the drain. Because
Mm-hmm.
he came in, and without sounding like a twat, he came in bigger every week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So sad. It was skinny teas, people would buy those. All of the dieting products, like diet ways, meal replacements, all of
Mm-hmm.
bullshit. People were just coming in and spending their hard-earned money on, and I couldn't say anything in the job because I thought it sad. I used to
Yeah.
advise as best as I could that if you take this, you've also got to make sure that your diet's on point and that you're exercising. And
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't just say,
Mm-hmm.
take your money and go to fucking Morrison's and get some fruit and veg. Like,
Yeah,
um,
that's it. And that's another thing as well. Like, it makes me sad that people like try things like like if they really restrict and they don't eat for a long period of time, and they're having these stupid drinks, or they're having like shakes, and that's all they're living off, or they're doing this another diet, I can't remember the name of it, but they only eat like 800 calories a day. And I'm like, oh my God, like I had a conversation with someone recently and I was like, oh wow, that's so low. And it just makes me sad that people think that that's the extremes they have to go to. Because you'll be the same, like when you sign somebody up and they join the team, you'll give them their calories, and a lot of the time people will be like, whoa, that's so many calories, like I'm not used to that. And I'm like, yeah, but that's what you should be eating. And they're like, oh yeah, but I eat way lower than that. And I'm like, yeah, but that's why you're not getting where you want to be. You need to be eating more than that. Like, and it's again, it's taken away that fear of actually eating more is going to be better for your progress and for your happiness and health, essentially.
That's one of my absolute favorite conversations. I just love it when I send someone the calories and I get that comment. I'm just like, I love it.
It's great, isn't
And then
it?
it's the best is the first week's check-in when they submit their check-in and they've lost weight. They're like, oh my God, I've lost this weight, eating this much food. And I'm just like,
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? You're
like,
like, see, you can enjoy all the food, like, and they're like, it's amazing. I'm like, yes, go and enjoy your food. Like, it's awesome.
amazing. Okay, so this is why you're passionate about it. So obviously you can't give all of your trade secrets, but let's just say, as a theoretical example, I came to you now and I was like,
Yeah.
Danni, I've been on these diets for 20 odd years. I've done Slimming World, I've done 5-2, I've done keto, I've done this, and I do really well for 6 weeks, and then I fall off and I start again, usually in January or usually on a Monday. And it's just this vicious cycle, and I'm fucking sick of it, and I'm ready to break free from it. I
Mm-hmm.
come to you saying that, I sign up to coaching. What would you do with me? How is it that you take women from this place of, and it's probably very similar, but I want to hear your perspective. So
Yeah.
years and years and years of trying a diet, failing a diet, feeling like a failure, and they've come to you as a last resort. How
Yeah.
do you ensure that they break free from this and get to a point where they don't have to do these stupid things, but can see results and sustain them?
Love this question. Okay, so obviously we'll have that initial chat with them, as all coaches do. We have that call, and kind of gauge their background and stuff. But I always ask first and foremost, have they ever done any sort of tracking before, like via NutriCheck or MyFitnessPal? And whether they have or haven't, I'll explain to them, I'll kind of ask them, is that something that they're willing to do? And the reason we ask clients that is because one, it's not mandatory, but it's a very, very useful tool. It's, it's not something they have to do, but if they are willing to, it is a very useful tool in order for them to be accountable to how much food they're having, to
Yeah.
learn about the amount of food that they're having and portion sizes, but also the quality of food sources they're having, which they probably don't have the knowledge about because let's be honest, like Slimming World and Weight Watchers don't tell you that. So they don't have that education. So my fitness pal is going to teach you that, and also that allows us, and explain this to them, it allows us to kind of pull up their food diary and their weekly check-ins, kind of talk them through and give them a lot more in-depth help. um but you'll be the same, like we take it step by step, and like we're very big on, and like you'll be the same, like basically trying to remove the overwhelm and take it like one step at a time, because they're going through this phase where they're really frustrated and they're stressed and they're like, I need to do something. So if we kind of chuck them in the deep end and say, okay, let's do this, this, and this, they're going to be like, whoa, this is too much. So we literally take it step by step. So if they're willing and able to, we will calculate their calories for them, just get them start tracking their food so we can help them with that. That's usually when they're like, wow, I'm making great progress and actually having more food. But aside from that, it's all about promoting healthier behaviors and habits around foods. Um, so like a lot of our clients who come to us are in a very restrictive state. So they'll obviously be eating very, very little calories, whether they've tracked or not, and they'll kind of overconsume at the weekend, or they might kind of eat clean during the week, no treats at all, and then end up overeating at the weekends. So they've just got this unhealthy relationship towards like food and social events. So what we'll do is, depending on the client, we'll ask them to have a calorie dense snack each day. We call them calorie dense snacks and not treats. Very kind of want to be mindful of the language that they're using around their food. That's a
Yeah.
big thing, right?
It's a big thing that I am. My clients will be like, oh, fucking hell, she goes. I will literally pull people up and I'm like, you don't call it a bad food.
Yeah.
If it's making you vomit, shit yourself or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad. Don't be
Yeah.
nasty. It's nice in its own
Yeah.
special way.
Totally. Isn't that, and that's the same with us. Like we promote the same thing. Like, the language around food is a big thing.
It is.
And we'll kind of catch them out if they're saying, oh, I ate bad today. And I'm like, no, no, no,
No,
you didn't.
no,
No.
no.
Yeah, I'm like, stop right there. Or they're like, I've had a takeaway. It's so bad. I'm like, no, it's not. Did you enjoy it? Like, that's great. Like, so again, it's about the language, but yeah, we'll ask them to have a calorie dense snack each day, which basically means something that they would deem as bad, but we don't call it that they would deem as bad, and that they would maybe only allow themselves at the weekend. We
Yeah,
try and get them to have that every single day of the week,
yeah,
to, you know what I mean, just to allow them to see that actually you can have this any day of the week and it's absolutely fine. So that's kind of how we ease them into it, and then obviously just gradually build in like their other daily habits. But it really does start with the nutrition, I think. For us, like we obviously give them their training and their step targets and things, and they get their check-ins with us. But yeah, from the kind of nutrition perspective, that's kind of how we do it.
yeah.
And if it's somebody who's perhaps coming from a background of maybe not a great, really, really bad relationship with food and doesn't like the use of MyFitnessPal, then we of course won't get them to use MyFitnessPal. We'll get them to keep like a written food diary, for example, and we'll just monitor their food that way and help them with that and give them other protocols. So yeah.
I'm going to play devil advocates here, and I don't agree with this, but obviously there is a big movement going on at the moment. There is a lot of, I feel like in the fitness industry, you kind of get forced that you should be this very, very extremist about certain things. And there is quite an extremist view at the moment against calorie counting. Calorie counting is terrible. Calorie counting is just as bad as these diets, because there is an element of restriction. And I just want to hear what your thoughts are on that. I know what mine are. So if, for example, let's just say you said this and someone came into your DMs and was like, you're promoting breaking free from yo-yo dieting, you're promoting food freedom and flexibility, but you're getting your calories to calorie, clients to calorie count, you're getting your calorie count to calorie count. I need one of them coffees.
Yeah. Get the pods out.
Point people, optimal sleep. You get your clients to calorie count and track. How does that make you any better? What would your response be to that? Just to play devil advocate and to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, this is interesting because when they started to put calories on menus, I felt very split about that. So that's something we can maybe talk about after. But yeah, so wait, I've forgotten the question. So basically, yeah, promoting calorie counting. Okay, I need another coffee. Can I have a coffee pod? So yeah, basically, like, so people have this thing where they think that, counting calories is obsessive. It's going to give you a really unhealthy relationship with food, when actually it doesn't. It educates you, like, and if you're somebody who does become really obsessed and gets really kind of like hung up on numbers, and it triggers you if you do go slightly over your calories or you don't reach your macros. If it triggers you, then yes, okay, it's not right for you. We would never get you to track if that is the case. We would look at other protocols. But for a lot of people, it is a really, really useful tool. And it's not obsessive. It's you looking after your health. It's you, you know, educating yourself, learning about nutrition, how everything works, so that later the line, we don't want you to be tracking your food forever. Like, what we do with our clients at the end of their journey is teach them how to maintain the results without the use of MyFitnessPal, so
Yeah.
that they don't have to religiously track, and get to a point where I actually did a live with my client Ashlyn last night, and she was saying, like, she's at a point now where she still tracks, but she knows her portion sizes. This is what MyFitnessPal can do for you guys. But like, she knows now, just from like weighing her foods out, or like putting teaspoons of peanut butter and bits and bobs in, she knows exactly what 15 grams of, say, peanut butter is. She
Yeah.
knows, you know what I mean? She knows what 30 grams of oats is, because she's done it so often. And yeah, she will still have to weigh things now and again, but because she's used it for that long, she's got that knowledge there to kind of break free from it and say, actually, I don't need to track today. Or, yeah, I can still track my breakfast and lunch, but maybe I'll just skip my dinner because I know this is what I'm having, kind of thing.
Mm.
But she's got that freedom now of, actually, I've got that knowledge. And it helps her as well, and a lot of other clients see that you can still have social events and still, be on track, but you're still holding yourself accountable. So I understand some people see it as like, oh my gosh, it's obsessive, it's not healthy, but I disagree. I think if, as long as you're not triggered by numbers, and you don't have like a previous eating disorders, I know sometimes that can trigger it. Totally understand. If that's the case, that's not for you, and that is fine. But for a lot of people, it is super beneficial. So
Okay.
yeah.
And I think as well, a lot of it comes down to your mindset around tracking. And this is what I do speak to a lot of my clients about, and I speak about a lot, is that if you see it as a restriction of, you only have X amount of calories and then it stops you from having this and stops you from doing that, well, then of course it's going to be a very negative process, because you're looking at what it doesn't allow you to do.
Yeah.
I like to flip it on its head and say, well, what does it allow you to do? I like to look at it as, you have this, it's like money, you have this budget and you get to choose how you spend and allocate it. You have that power of choice. And it does teach you so much about portion control, because every single person can vouch for the fact that when they have actually tracked and been accountable, sometimes you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
actually eating that much. And even though you don't feel like you're having a lot, all these little things really can add up an amount
Mm-hmm.
to not a lot. Like, for example, the other day, it wasn't calories on the menu scenario. I was looking at a menu for a client
Mm-hmm.
going somewhere, and all of the meals were over 1,000 calories. And it's like, you
Yeah.
could go to this place and have quite a small, it's like a club sandwich sort of thing. And then you've had your breakfast on a morning, and then maybe you have a snack when you get home. You could be like easily hitting 3,000 calories without even thinking about it. And it's just these little things that it really just educate you. But it's choosing to see it as educational, choosing to see it as you have the power of choice, rather than
Yes.
seeing it as a restriction imposed upon you. Because when it is that restriction imposed upon you, as we all know from lockdown 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, no one likes that. No one likes the element. No one wants to be restricted. We all want freedom. So it's
Yeah.
being the autonomy of choice and
Mm-hmm.
freedom to, you have this, you choose how you
Totally.
get it, rather than a, well, I wanted 10,000 Kit Kats and I can't have that, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. It's such a good way to look at it, and you're so right. You're
Well,
so right. Like, if you're going to see it as a restrictive thing, and like oh, but I'm only allowed X amount of food, then yeah, okay, it's going to be hard. But actually, if you see it and flip it on its side, like you said, it just makes the world of difference.
yeah.
And I think, like, it can, like, some people can see it, like, if you've come from that restrictive background,
Mm.
sometimes they can come in and say, oh, actually, it's still, maybe it is still, even though they're having more food, they might find it, like, a lot of people find it an extra chore, like, oh, it's so hard to track everything. Initially, it might be because it's new to you, like any new habit.
Yeah.
But as
Mm.
soon as you get going with it, it actually becomes very, very simple.
Yeah.
And it's actually really interesting once you once you get going. So yeah.
Exactly. An analogy that I love to use, I love analogies. I'm like the queen of analogies. is that if you want really good results as well, and you really want to build up that skill set, that knowledge and understanding to get results, sustain them, and get them in the most efficient way possible,
Mm-hmm.
I actually look at it as like baking, right? So
Mm-hmm.
anyone who bakes here, I want anyone who doesn't do this to actually slide in my DMs and tell me, and I'll take revert. When you're baking something, right? What do? You weigh out the ingredients. Why do you weigh out the ingredients? Because if you don't weigh out the ingredients and you guess, it might come out right, but it's a bit of a stab in the dark. Even if
Such a good analogy.
all right. So if you've been baking, even if you've been baking for years and you just try and wing it, it might come out all right, but it's probably not going to. You need the timing to be bang on, you need the weighing to be bang on. And it's the exact same here. If you want to be within your calories, the more accurate you can be, the more accurate you can, and firmly you can say, I'm in a deficit every day, or I'm in a surplus every day, goal dependent.
Mm-hmm.
And you can then make that progress knowing that the data is fully bang on. It's like a cake. If you weigh out to the T, follow the instructions to a T, you're gonna have a banging cake. Whereas if you're winging it, it might come out all right, might come out shit. So this is why tracking is so important. And I think people don't realize the power of it's not forever if you don't want it to be. But if you put your all into it, stick to it, see it as you have the choice to do this, you will learn so much about yourself, nutrition. If you choose to focus on that, if you're like, oh, I've got to weigh out this, I've got to weigh out that,
Yeah.
then you're gonna fucking hate it.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna want to quit and you're not gonna see results. But see it as empowering, stick with it for the short term, long term, you will benefit so goddamn much from it.
Yes. What a great analogy. Did you just think of that right now? Or is that something you've come up with before? Because that's pretty awesome.
Do you know what? I've literally just thought of this on the spot and I'm so glad.
No shit, that was so fucking good. I'm impressed.
I know I've got cake on my mind. I just thought, oh my God, it's like baking cake. Oh my God, amazing. I literally need to write all these down and make a book out of my analogies.
You could. I would read it. I'm really intrigued by that. That's amazing. I'm impressed.
That is such a real idea. That you'll see that on my Instagram in a couple of
Yeah. Do it. Do it. That's epic.
amazing.
No, I love that.
I think we need to touch on the calories on the menu now, though. It wasn't a
Yeah.
question I thought about, but I think it is very, very relevant to fat loss and as well about factoring in social occasions when you are in this deficit, because this is something that these diet clubs and regimes don't teach you how to do, because these programs, these regimes, meal plans, whatever it is that's a pile of shit basically that is creating yo-yo effect, they are great when you do follow them, because like any diet, all it's doing is creating a calorie deficit. The difference is you are having rules and restrictions imposed upon you because you have to follow the sins, or you have to follow the no carbs or whatever it is. Whereas when it's calorie counting, again, this is the mindset and perspective, you have so much more choice and options and creativity with it that you have a choice to use.
Yeah.
When you then have a social, or when you have a meal out, or your mum says, do you want to come for Sunday tea? It's your mum and you haven't seen her in so long. Well, that Sunday tea or that pizza out or those glasses of wine out, whatever it is, don't fit the meal plan or the rules of the diet. What the frick do you do? And they don't teach you this. So this is why it's important. However, I've gone off a total tangent there, but calories.
No, it's good.
I know, I'm such a tangent person. This is why I have to write things down and try and stick to it.
No, I like it. It's interesting. Go for it.
So again, that's another reason why calorie counting is great, because it does actually allow you, doesn't it, to have the best, I like to say, like Hannah Montana would say, the best of both worlds, in that you can stay within your calories if you really want to prioritize your goal.
Yeah.
You stick on track. And then you can still go out and have a great time.
Yeah.
100%. It's like a money analogy. If you had 100 quid, most days you might just want to spread that out evenly over your day. Going out for food, you might just throw a lot more into that one thing and then pull back a little bit. Calories on the menu. When was that? Was that last year or this year?
I think it was this year. Maybe it was last year. God, I don't know. But yeah, I don't think it was. I have no idea. But yeah, like it was a big thing in the news, and it's difficult because I feel kind of split about it, right? I think it's so useful for the likes of like myself and you, and like my clients who track, who are like, aiming for fat loss just now, who need to stick within their calories. They've got that focus of, okay, this is X amount of calories, I can have this. It's so good from that perspective. However, I understand that for those who do come from a history of like eating disorders and have a poor relationship, I know that can be triggering. But then I found out that actually it's an option to have you can have the menu without the calories and the menu with the calories. So you can actually choose on most places which option you have. So I'm split. Like I think it's great for the majority of our clients and for myself, and like for you, for example, like I love it because it means that you can say, right, okay, that's X amount of calories. And to be honest, like another kind of going back to my fitness pal, if you use my fitness pal, my fitness pal for long enough, you'll get to a point where actually you'll look at a meal on a menu that maybe doesn't have calories, and you'll say, actually, that's going to be just right for what I'm kind of guesstimating for my dinner, and you'll know because you've already got that education from using my fitness pal religiously. But yeah, like I think for the majority, like I think it can actually be a real eye opener into what meals actually some meals have like thousands of calories that you might not think they do. Like a salad can have a lot of calories depending on where you go. You might think, oh, it's a salad, it's healthy, but actually, what else is in it? What is the dressing? What else does it include? Like it's probably going to be more than you think. So I think it can be really useful and an eye opener, but I understand like people were saying, this, I find this triggering. So yeah, I feel like I think it's useful and I love it, but I understand those who have had like a history of eating disorders. Do you see what I'm saying? But like I know that you can have the option of choosing the menu without the kind of calories on it. So yeah, what's your thoughts?
I think you've made a valid point there. And one thing that you actually just said really resonated with something that I discussed with today. So one of my clients is going out to an Italian this weekend, and it's more of a local based place. And so it doesn't have, if they've got so many employees, they don't have to do this whole calories on menu thing.
Right. All right. Okay.
This is our government in a nutshell, isn't it? When they've just got these stupid rules and regulations. It's like when
Yeah.
COVID banned tier 3, tier 2. If you're in this city, you won't get COVID.
Yeah.
If you're a small corporation, you don't need to put your calories on the menus. But if you're big, yes, you do. It's like, okay, well,
So stupid, eh?
it's like just be all or nothing. And I hate all or nothing mentality, but in this sense, just fucking be all or nothing.
100%. Yeah.
But yeah, so I was like said to myself, well, best thing you can do is actually just go on to like Ask Italian Aussies and find a like for like place and then compare. And I said, but you actually be surprised because she said to me, I'm not actually going to go for the pizza or pasta because I know it's higher calories. I'm going to go for like something that's like a meat and veg and potatoes option. I said, great. And this is probably what most people think is right. But actually, if you look at the menu, we did together. I said, if you actually look at it, there's about 5 pasta dishes here and 2 pizza dishes, which fall under calories than the potatoes and the meat meal. So what you think might be actually a lower calorie option isn't. So again, from the education and guidance, I think it is great. It is eye-opening for a lot of people.
Yeah.
However, coming from an eating disorder background myself, having family who've got eating disorders currently and knowing that it makes eating out very, very challenging for them in a situation which, think about what is eating out for most people, right? For most people in most situations, it's celebratory, it's a bit of a reward, it's downtime, it's a positive experience to look forward to. And it can create that element of negativity when you go in and you're like, makes you feel bad about yourself and a bit guilty for eating so much food. What my personal perspective of it is I think that the information and nutrition availability should be very readily available for everyone if you want it. But I think it should just be like a QR code or something that you opt to, get asked when you go in, which menu do you want, rather than it being thrown in your face. Because even I, who have such a food relationship, improved food relationship, I'm not dieting. When I've been to places and seen it, sometimes it's made me go, oh, do I actually want that? And I do want that. I like that. I like that food and I'm here to enjoy myself, but I'm actually thinking, oh, that's quite a lot for that. And I'm having these thoughts and feelings and it's kind of taken away from what should be a positive experience.
Totally.
I think I have mixed emotions about it. I think information should be more readily available because before it came on the menus, sometimes when we'd want to track it in, you'd have to you have to like go onto the website and then go into click this and then download the thing.
It's a nightmare.
It takes forever, but I think there should be a way of means of accessing it there and then or on our websites or something if people want to have that information available for whatever reason. But do I think it should be thrown directly in your face? Really, no. And the option,
I totally agree.
And you get then made to feel a bit awkward by asking, okay, I don't want with the calories. I mean, that's kind of an awkward thing to say. It's not,
because then you're like, you almost think, oh, should I be going for the one without the calories? And then it almost like makes you question, or maybe I should have that, but actually I don't want that. And then
if you then ask for it without the calories, you're then thinking about calories subconsciously. So even you're still going to be thinking about calories regardless. So you're still going to be having like in a dialogue and conflict in your head of, oh, is that too much? Oh, what's in there? Oh, so regardless, and realistically, let's be honest, it was a cop-out thing for the government. They didn't want to put.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, it's just
fucking education system. Teach kids at school about nutrition from when they're younger. Build those health habits when they're younger. so that when they're adults, they've got the healthy habits and they don't fall into these. But why are they not going to do that? Because the diet industry is giving them lots of money.
Yes. Oh,
Oh,
I'm totally with you on this. It's so frustrating that this is just the government's easy way out of, oh yeah, we'll tackle the obesity kind of problem. We'll just put calories on menus. There we go. Like, no, that's not the best way to kind of look at it. So no, I'm so with you on that.
yeah, we've done something. So,
Yeah, it's done.
it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I can't wait to see the data and the statistics of how much difference that has made. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that there will be no significant difference notified.
Yep, I agree. I
And
agree.
yeah. There probably will be a significant difference because more people will have been active after lockdowns and they're going to correlate it with their
Yeah.
calories on
They'll
menu.
use the wrong data. Yeah, I
And no,
agree.
people have got out of their fucking house and been able to go back to the gym and move, you donkeys.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly. You're so right.
I'm always right, but I'm not going to get into politics because I think that's going to definitely cause some. I'm all right slating Slimming World, but when we start to get political, that is when, yeah, I don't need people sliding in my DMs going, oh, praise Boris Johnson. I'm like, fuck off.
No, surely not. Come on now. Come on now.
Okay, so I want to kind of finish this and wrap this up thinking I want to use a theoretical example of, let's just say someone is listening to this right now.
Yeah.
They are stuck in this diet trap, they're stuck in this cycle, and they really want to break free. But right now, potentially they are apprehensive or just cannot afford coaching or it's not viable for them. Let's think of a couple of strategies between us of things that you could do and implement today with your own actions, behaviors, mindset to really start to break free from this. It's not going to happen overnight, but what would you recommend someone would do as a starting point to really start to break free from this?
Okay, so first thing, don't spend any more money on shitty Slimming World or any detox teas or any stupid product like that promotes it. It's a weight loss product for that matter. Save your money. I would say, first and foremost, if you don't already track your food, I would say either keep a written food diary just to kind of just trying to get into the habit of being mindful of how much you're eating and your portion sizes. Or start tracking. If you're already tracking, then go for it. But also like increasing your movement, like literally just getting your steps up, getting outside, getting more movement in, like it just does wonders for you. It'll it's just really, really good for you in so many ways. And it also help with the fat loss side of things, which a lot of people tend to forget about the importance of energy expenditure. It doesn't come from just your training sessions, actually comes more so from your overall movement across the day. But yeah, I think nutritionally, like I think a lot of people come from that place of restriction, don't they? So I think allowing yourself to have something that you'd have at the weekend, have it on a Monday. Like challenge yourself to have a bloody Kit Kat on a Monday morning. Like, why not? If you want to have a Kit Kat, have a Kit Kat on a Monday. Your body doesn't know the difference between whether it's Saturday and Sunday or a Monday. It's literally just a day. Like, it literally doesn't know. So yeah, that would be my advice. Like, start kind of being more mindful of your food intake, your up in your movement, and just allowing yourself to have those treats every day and don't restrict, I think.
And one thing I would suggest to someone is to really audit where you're getting your information from because the internet is a minefield, and especially if you're in environments like office environments where everyone's doing Slimming World and everyone's done a diet and everyone's been very negative about it, you are going to hear these things of, you have to do low carb, you can't eat this, don't eat too much protein because you'll die, and all of this is, I'm not saying me and Danny are the best, but we are. Just really to find people who put out informative content and to learn from them, start to educate yourself. You don't have to do a PT course, but even just typing onto Google, like the energy balance equation, really start to understand. I'm going to leave it in here, actually. I'm going to leave I've got a fat loss guide I'll leave it in the show notes. So it's just basically simplifies everything. Get rid of the bullshit. So if you want to download that, go download that. I'm sure Danny's got pretty similar resources as well. So go check her out on Instagram. We'll do the whole follow on Instagram at the end. We'll come to that. But find people like us who we don't have the intentions of making billions of money off people's failure. We have the intentions of having a business that keeps a roof over our heads, but more so helps people to succeed. We don't want people stuck in our coaching forever. We want people to eventually leave autonomous and smashing on their own. So we like to put out information that educates you. So find people like us. Like I said, just Google things like energy balance, just really get a good understanding and really start to understand what is fact from fiction. Because I think that is a game changer. When I actually really started to understand
Mm-hmm.
and understand, right, that's why my weight's not changing. That's why I need to do this. It just
100%.
a bit more, and everything just makes much more sense, and you'll be much more likely to stick to it, knowing the why and the what, rather than just following some fucking rules that don't make any sense, but you're going to do it because you've seen some person on a poster.
Yeah,
I love
100%.
you know, it's like,
Yeah.
actually learn about it for yourself. Really do.
Yeah, I think what you said there, learning the why is so crucial. Like you have to understand why you're doing what you're doing. Otherwise, how are you gonna sustain those results for life? You need to know why. You know what I mean? And I think like even just simple things like, you know, like so obviously just what we've both said there is great, but also even just really simple things like filling half your plate with veggies, have lots more veggies, make sure your plates are colorful, having a source of protein with every meal. If you don't know what protein is, go and have a look in, or like go on our pages, we have loads of stuff about what protein is and what food sources are protein filled, and just little small things like that like go a long way. And I think people tend to oversee the small stuff when actually all the small stuff, all the small habits add up to big results over time, you know.
Absolutely. 100%. And
So
I'm going
yeah,
to say it on this podcast. I've said it on so many podcasts and
go for
things.
it.
If you are really, really struggling on the whole habit change thing, guys, please go buy Atomic Habits, read it.
I
And
was going to say
then honestly, I fucking shares in that book. The amount of people that have messaged me saying I bought it and read it because of what you've said on that podcast. I'm just like, this guy's making fucking billions from me.
that. It's so fucking good.
it is, you know, and it's
I actually, do you know, for what we started, started sending out Atomic Habits as part of our welcome gift for clients who join us, and actually they sold out because I'd sent so many. So I'm like, this guy is making so much money. So
we
yeah,
need
I'm
a
saying
discount code, mate. We need some commission here. Like, come on.
100%. But it's the best book. It literally is probably the best book you'll ever read. And it's simplified as well. It's not a hard read. It's a fucking great book.
Exactly. And the thing about Atomic Habits and why we're talking about it is we're not just super fans, is that for many of you who are stuck in this diet cycle, it isn't there's anything wrong with you. And this is what these diets lead you to actually believe and internalize, that you are a failure, you can't diet, you can't lose weight, I'll never lose weight. It's nothing to do with you. It's just these habits and mentalities that you've built up over time. And you weren't born with them, right? That's what you need to remember, is you weren't born with this. You've learned it, you've internalized it. You can reverse that process, but it isn't just a case of doing the big thing of following a diet. It's the small little habits which what amounts to it, which is why we're telling you to read that, to help you become aware of your own habits. And it really does make you very aware of your own habits and behaviors and how to change them. And that book's £8 on Amazon, and honestly, if you follow it and implement it, I can't say 100% guarantee, because I'll get someone like, I did it and it didn't work for me. Okay.
Yeah.
I promise you, it will make you so much more self-aware. And if you do it, it will make a massive difference. It really will.
Yes.
I learned so much about myself by doing that. I was like,
Same.
that's why you
I
do that.
actually, I actually, on the live last night I did with my client, I actually, oh no, was it last? No, I was, where, anyway, this has been a busy week. I don't even know what day it is. But at some point this week, I was on a video somewhere doing something, and it was talking about, I can't remember, it was in the Facebook group. I was doing a training, and I actually referenced the book. I was talking about habit stacking. So yeah, you will use it. I still use it to this day. It is bloody great. So yeah.
I'm going to stop talking about Atomic Habits because we don't want to line this dude's pocket anymore.
I know.
Amazing. Do you have any closing thoughts? Anything big take homes that you want anyone to take from this podcast before we wrap it up? Anything that you think is important that we've not discussed that I maybe brushed over in relation to?
No, I think we've kind of covered everything. I think it's been awesome. I like having chats. You know, I just think it's so good to having chats with like-minded folk about this kind of stuff. So yeah, I hope people have enjoyed it and found it helpful. Please just don't spend any more money on any shitty supplements.
That
Put
is
the money
the
back in your pocket.
Save your damn money on this pile of shit. Stop
Yep,
it.
absolutely.
Don't spend it on that.
Yeah.
Habits.
Yeah, buy Atomic Habits and you'll be grand.
Everything will be solved. But the final question for you, Danny, and it's a signature question that I ask every single person who comes on the podcast as a guest.
Yep.
And it's a bit of a make or break question, because this
Oh,
could
God.
end friendship forever, potentially.
Oh, fuck.
I know, right?
Oh, no, I'm nervous.
No, don't be nervous. It's fine. It just might mean that I hate you afterwards, but it's all good.
Oh,
What is your favorite go-to number one cereal?
oh, fuck. Okay.
Mm.
My favorite number, like if I had to choose to have one, like for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, I've got. I would. Oh, okay.
If there's
I
two, I'll
don't.
let you have two. It's okay if you need to go for two.
I would probably say. I actually don't buy cereal because I cannot I cannot eat just like one bowl. I'm just trying to think, but because I love cereal, I would probably say Crunchy Nut.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. If I had to choose, like I love Cocoa Pops, don't get me wrong, I love Cocoa Pops, but if I had to choose, I could literally eat a whole box of Crunchy Nut quite easily.
We'll accept that answer. That's
Okay, what was your answer? I want to know.
I think his mind changes all the time, but right at this moment, and it has been for a while, the Lion Bar cereal is just
Never
incredible.
had that. Okay, maybe I need to try this.
You really, really do. Again, this is another one where so many people go and buy it. It's like, why have I not got shares in Lion Bar cereal as well? Because no one knows about it. Like, but it's
I didn't know.
lush. It's one of those that is nice as like a pudding as well as a breakfast. Like, it's so lovely on like Greek yogurt as like a topping. It's fantastic.
Oh, I need to go and buy this now. I actually need to go to the shops tonight. So you're gonna. I mean, I don't have the calories to fit it in today because I'm cutting for my photo shoot. But when I'm out of that cut, I tell you, I'll be.
Your calorie dense snack of the day.
Oh, absolutely. I'll be factoring it into this weekend. Let me tell you that. Sounds good.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Danny. Oh, last bit, of course. People, you've obviously been massively inspired by what Danny has to say, and she put some freaking epic content out there. So, Danny, for the peoples, where may they find you?
For the peoples, I've got a really awkward second name, which has actually changed now, but on Instagram it's still my maiden name, so I'll spell it. But my handle is Danny Danni, surname Chianta. Just search Danny CH, and I guarantee I'll come up because nobody else has that surname. Let's be honest. But
I'll leave
yeah,
it in the notes as well for people.
yeah, awesome.
Not spell, just copy and paste it, and you'll be
Yeah,
good.
such an awkward surname, but it's not even my surname anymore. So I actually need to rebrand and change that. So I'll sort that. But yeah,
You kind of got married, you kind of just know, yeah, need to
yeah,
go.
kind of a big thing.
Big thing.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It's been awesome.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you to everyone who has listened as always. And I will see you next week. Danny won't, because Danny's never coming back on this podcast. I'll see you on next week's episode.